The art of hiding the fangs on Wall Street. The true predators never roar. They do not wave their hands in the air. They do not reveal their cards, and they certainly do not show the slightest hint of desperation. The most dangerous wolves are the ones who blend into the background, silent, watching, letting others burn themselves out. They know that the moment you expose your intentions, you give the market a weapon to use against you. Every word, every action, every flicker of emotion can be read and exploited. This is why the seasoned player perfects the art of concealment. The market is a battlefield, but it is not one where strength is flaunted. It is a war of whispers, of hidden motives, of traps laid beneath layers of noise. The rookie trader believes that winning requires shouting victories, boasting about gains, or showcasing brilliance. That is how they get trapped. The wolf knows better. He does not need applause or recognition. His edge lies in invisibility. The moment others underestimate him, he already has the upper hand. There is a reason why professional traders appear calm, detached, even indifferent. That demeanor is not accidental. It is armor. Behind it lies calculation, waiting, the readiness to strike. When the crowd is euphoric, the wolf is quietly unloading positions. When panic takes over, he is accumulating at a discount. His genius lies not only in timing, but in the discipline to disguise his timing from everyone else. He does not chase. He does not beg for confirmation. He lets others reveal their hands while his remain invisible. This art of hiding the fangs extends beyond the charts and numbers. It is about posture in the trading floor, tone in conversations, even silence in moments when everyone else is screaming. The most powerful predators know that markets are swayed not just by money, but by perception. If others see you as strong, they will test you. If they see you as weak, they will exploit you. The safest position is neutrality, faceless, unreadable, untouchable. In that void, you gain control. Make no mistake, this is not cowardice. Concealment is a weapon as sharp as any blade. Wolves are not passive creatures. They are hunters, but they stalk in the shadows, patiently, deliberately. They know that the kill does not happen when you lunge too soon. It happens when the prey forgets you exist, when it lowers its guard, when it believes it is safe. That is when the fangs flash. On Wall Street, information is more lethal than bullets. The one who leaks his positions, his fears, or his greed is already dead. The wolf never telegraphs his next move. He lets the tape, the noise, and the analysts create smokescreens while he moves in silence. By the time the crowd realizes what has happened, he has already fed and vanished into the night. The art of hiding the fangs is what separates the amateurs from the professionals. The amateur wants validation. The professional wants survival. The amateur announces. The professional executes. The amateur shows his teeth to scare. The wolf hides his fangs until it is too late. To master this art is to accept that in markets, power is not in what you show, but in what you withhold. Every time you resist the urge to flaunt a win, every time you swallow the impulse to broadcast a trade, every time you disguise your intentions under a mask of indifference, you sharpen your fangs without letting anyone know how close they are to your throat. That restraint, that cold-blooded concealment, is not a weakness. It is the purest expression of strength on Wall Street, baptized by fire and loss. No one becomes a Wall Street veteran simply by surviving time. Age alone does not turn a trader into a wolf. What forges the predator is blood, fire, and the scars of brutal losses. Every so-called master of the market has walked through the valley of pain, has seen entire accounts vanish, has felt the suffocating weight of debt, has stared at the screen while the market ripped apart everything they thought they knew. That crucible of suffering is the only true initiation. The novice believes that success is measured by how many wins he racks up, how much profit he makes, how fast his equity curve rises. That illusion dies the moment the market takes everything away in one violent move. The wolf knows the truth. Greatness is not defined by how much you make when you win, but by how much you can survive when you lose. Losses are inevitable. Catastrophes are part of the game. The only question is whether you are strong enough to crawl back from the wreckage. Every scar carries a lesson written in blood. The trader who has never been crushed, never been forced to rebuild from nothing, is nothing more than a sheep dressed in wolf's clothing. His confidence is fragile, his discipline untested. The market will expose him the moment volatility strikes. The wolf, on the other hand, has bled enough to know that survival is the real currency. He treats every trade not as an opportunity to get rich, but as a battle where the first priority is to stay alive for the next one. It is in the ashes of devastation that the predator is born. Losing strips away arrogance. It burns illusions to dust. It forces humility into the bones. No textbook, no seminar, no indicator can teach what it feels like to see your capital vanish overnight and still come back the next day ready to fight again. That resilience is the essence of the wolf. He has been broken, but never destroyed. There is a certain cold clarity that comes only after loss. Once you have watched your dreams collapse in real time, you stop fearing the market. You understand its cruelty, its indifference. And in that understanding, you gain power. You no longer trade to prove yourself. You no longer gamble for validation. You trade with precision, discipline, and an unshakable respect for risk. Pain has carved into you the one truth that separates survivors from casualties. You do not need to win every battle. You just need to stay alive long enough to win the war. This baptism by fire is not optional. It is the price of entry. Every real predator on Wall Street carries the memory of nights without sleep, of accounts drained to zero, of moments where quitting felt easier than continuing. But quitting is what sheep do. Wolves rise from their losses sharper, colder, hungrier. And when they strike again, they strike with the knowledge that they have already tasted death and lived. To become a true wolf of Wall Street, you must embrace the fire and accept the loss, not as tragedy, but as transformation. For it is only after you have been burned and scarred that you earn the right to hunt with fangs bared, no longer blinded by illusions, no longer terrified by the inevitable. The blood and the fire are not what destroy you. They are what make you. The predator's mindset, never following the herd. On Wall Street, the herd is always the prey. It does not matter whether it is retail traders chasing meme stocks, institutions piling into overhyped sectors, or crowds reacting to headlines on instinct. The herd moves with emotion, not strategy. It is driven by fear and greed, incapable of restraint, and forever doomed to repeat the same mistakes. This is the reality of the financial jungle. If you run with the herd, you will die with the herd. The predator survives and thrives because he is willing to walk alone, because he sees what others cannot, because he has trained his mind to stalk rather than stampede. The predator's mindset is not born from arrogance. It is born from necessity. To endure in markets, you must understand the basic law of survival. The majority is usually wrong. History proves this over and over again. During bubbles, the crowd screams that this time is different. During crashes, the crowd insists that the world is ending. And in both cases, they are slaughtered by their own illusions. The wolf does not fall into this trap. He studies the cycles, watches the crowd with cold detachment, and positions himself for the inevitable reversal. Think of wolves in the wild. When a herd of deer moves together, they create a sense of safety. They cluster tightly, they run in the same direction, they convince themselves that numbers equal protection. But to the wolf, the herd is not intimidating, it is opportunity. The wolf does not charge blindly at the herd's center. He circles, he observes, he identifies the weak, the distracted, the ones lagging behind. He knows that when panic sets in, the herd will break apart. And in that chaos, the kill becomes inevitable. The market behaves the same way. The herd of traders clusters around the same stocks, the same news, the same signals. They believe that moving together protects them, that being part of a consensus is safer. But when volatility strikes, that false security collapses. Stops are triggered, fear spreads, and the stampede begins. The wolf does not chase with them. He waits, poised, until their fear creates the exact opportunity he has been anticipating. He does not need to rush. He just needs patience. The predator's mindset thrives on patience. Most traders cannot sit still. They crave constant action, constant validation, constant trading. They equate movement with progress, noise with opportunity. But the wolf knows that stillness is as powerful as action. He knows that waiting for the perfect moment is what separates a feast from starvation. He is not concerned with missing small wins. He is concerned only with striking decisively when the odds are in his favor. In nature, a wolf may stalk prey for hours before making a move. On Wall Street, a wolf may watch a market for months before pulling the trigger. Contrarian thinking is at the core of this mindset. When the herd buys, the wolf prepares to sell. When the herd sells, the wolf prepares to buy. But it is not contrarianism for the sake of being different. It is contrarianism rooted in logic, in probabilities, in the understanding that the crowd is rarely positioned for sustainability. When the herd is euphoric, prices are overextended, and risk is hidden beneath optimism. When the herd is terrified, prices are undervalued, and opportunity lies beneath despair. The wolf does not follow sentiment, he exploits it. Consider the great bubbles of history. During the dot-com mania, the herd poured billions into worthless companies because everyone else was doing the same. During the housing boom, the herd leveraged themselves to the brink, convinced housing prices could never fall. Each time, the wolves waited. They observed the madness. They endured the ridicule of being contrarian. And then, when the cycle turned, they devoured the herd's losses as profit. The predator's mindset is also about deception. In the wild, wolves sometimes feign disinterest, circling at a distance, giving the herd the illusion of safety. In the market, the wolf does the same. He does not announce his intentions. He does not reveal his positions. He does not scream his trades on social media. He allows the herd to believe they are safe, to believe they are right until the moment he strikes. By the time the herd realizes the trap, the wolf has already secured his kill. This independence of thought requires immense psychological strength. Humans are social creatures. We are wired to seek validation, to feel comfort in consensus, to avoid standing alone. The market punishes these instincts ruthlessly. The wolf has trained himself to resist them. He does not need applause when he wins, nor does he fear mockery when he looks wrong. He is willing to endure isolation because he knows that truth in markets is not decided by popularity, it is decided by money. When the dust settles, only results matter. To think like a predator, you must redefine risk. For the herd, risk is losing money today. For the wolf, risk is missing opportunity tomorrow because you burned yourself out today. The herd fears short-term pain and chases immediate gratification. The wolf embraces short-term discomfort for long-term dominance. He is not afraid of drawdowns, volatility, or temporary setbacks. He fears only the trap of mediocrity, of blending into the herd and dying with it. The wolf also knows when not to hunt. Not every move in the market is worth chasing. Not every fluctuation is prey. Sometimes the herd is too chaotic, the environment too unstable. In such moments, the wolf withdraws, conserving energy, preserving capital, waiting for clarity. This restraint is what separates him from the gamblers who throw themselves into every opportunity. The wolf does not trade for excitement. He trades for survival and profit. Let us return again to nature. A wolf pack does not hunt every time it sees movement. It chooses carefully. It assesses terrain, weather, distance, stamina. It calculates the cost of the hunt versus the reward of the kill. If the odds are poor, it retreats. On Wall Street, the wolf applies the same discipline. He does not chase every trend, every breakout, every rumor. He waits for setups where reward far outweighs risk. He values conservation over recklessness. He understands that survival is the foundation of success. This mindset extends beyond charts and trades. It is a way of life. The wolf thinks in terms of cycles, of long-term survival, of positioning himself for the inevitable rather than gambling on the unpredictable. He does not confuse noise for information. He does not let headlines dictate his moves. He filters everything through the lens of strategy, asking one simple question: is the herd about to break? The predator's mindset is lonely, but it is liberating. You stop caring about what others think. You stop seeking shortcuts. You stop obsessing over constant wins. Instead, you learn to love patience, discipline, and solitude. You become comfortable with being misunderstood, with looking wrong in the short term. Because you know that when the moment comes, when the herd finally collapses, you will be there waiting, teeth bared, ready to feast. On Wall Street, there are only two roles: hunter and hunted. The herd, no matter how loud or confident, is always the hunted. They run together. They panic together. They die together. The wolf walks alone, thinks alone, hunts alone, and because of that, he survives while others perish. To adopt the predator's mindset is to reject the comfort of the herd forever. It is to embrace solitude, patience, and ruthless clarity. It is to accept that your power comes not from following, but from stalking, waiting, and striking with precision. To become a wolf of Wall Street, you must choose to think like a predator. You must abandon the false safety of the herd and embrace the danger of independence. You must learn to watch quietly, to wait patiently, to strike decisively. You must understand that the herd is not your ally. The herd is your prey. And the sooner you accept this truth, the sooner you will stop being the hunted and start becoming the hunter. Iron discipline, the ultimate weapon on Wall Street. There are thousands of strategies, tens of thousands of indicators, and countless books promising shortcuts to riches. But if there is one factor that determines survival above all else, it is not knowledge, not luck, and not some magical formula. The ultimate weapon, the one thing that separates survivors from the broken, is iron discipline. Discipline is the spine of a Wall Street wolf. Without it, knowledge, skill, and experience collapse into useless noise. A trader without discipline is like a man holding a razor-sharp blade without control. He will cut himself before he ever cuts his opponent. A disciplined trader, however, wields his weapon with precision. Every move is deliberate, cold, and without hesitation. Discipline is not glamorous. It does not give you the adrenaline rush of closing a huge winning trade. It does not provide the ego boost of calling the market correctly. Discipline is silent and merciless. It is the refusal to chase temptation. It is the restraint to stay out of the market when your blood screams to dive in. It is the steel resolve to cut losses exactly at the level you planned, even as your gut begs for one more chance. It is the patience to wait weeks, even months, for the perfect setup, while others dance around every small fluctuation. In the wild, discipline is why wolves survive. A wolf cannot hunt recklessly. It must follow the principles of the pack, conserve energy, and choose the right moment. Every failed hunt burns precious strength, and too many failures can mean death. An impatient wolf that charges too early risks not just losing the prey, but its own life. The market is no different. A trader who jumps in too early or too late becomes prey, leaving his carcass behind for the disciplined wolves who waited. Discipline begins with the simplest but hardest task, sticking to the plan. Almost every trader has a plan, but very few follow it to the letter. They set stop-loss levels, but when price hits them, they negotiate with themselves, convincing their mind to give the trade a little more room. They set profit targets, but when they reach them, greed whispers to hold longer, and the profit evaporates. These failures are not due to lack of knowledge. They are failures of discipline. A Wall Street wolf does not negotiate with his rules. When he sets a target, he respects it. When he sets a stop, he executes it. Because he knows that even the smallest crack in discipline can expand into a collapse that destroys everything. On Wall Street, a single lapse can wipe out years of progress. Discipline is also the shield against emotion. The market swings between two poles, greed and fear. The herd chases both and gets slaughtered every time. The wolf still feels greed, still feels fear, but he does not let them drive his decisions. He places discipline as a wall between emotion and execution. Excitement does not blind him. Fear does not paralyze him. His moves remain clean and ruthless. Discipline is the ultimate weapon because it makes you the hunter, not the hunted. It allows you to watch the herd panic without joining them. It allows you to stay calm when others are frenzied about missing out. It allows you to hold positions with cold conviction when statistics back you, even as the crowd screams the opposite. Understand this brutal law of Wall Street. The biggest profits do not come from constant action. They come from waiting with discipline until the time is right. Warren Buffett once said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." But patience only works when paired with discipline. Many claim to be patient, but what they really practice is indecision. True patience is not passive. True patience is structured. It is waiting with a plan, waiting with preparation, ready to strike the instant the signal appears. In nature, a wolf may trail a herd for an entire day. It does not rush in. It studies the wind, the terrain, the distance. It singles out the weak. It suppresses its urge to attack early, conserving its energy for the one decisive strike. When the time comes, the attack is explosive, precise, and fatal. The disciplined trader does the same, watching, tracking, restraining, then moving with unflinching certainty when the market finally aligns. Discipline also means knowing when to walk away. The herd despises losses. They see a stop loss as failure. But the wolf knows cutting losses is survival. In the wild, a wolf will abandon a healthy deer and look for the weaker one. It does not waste energy on low probability hunts. In the market, discipline means cutting a bad trade and refusing to sink more into it. The undisciplined trader clings, hoping for rescue, and loses everything. The disciplined trader retreats, conserving capital for the next hunt. Discipline stretches beyond market hours. It governs your entire life. A trader without discipline not only loses money on bad trades, but sabotages himself outside the charts, burning out, skipping rest, neglecting health. The wolf knows his body and mind are weapons. A dull weapon cannot kill. For a trader, this means discipline in sleep, in diet, in exercise, in mental clarity. You cannot survive Wall Street if your mind is foggy or your body is weak. Iron discipline is not about winning every trade. It is about never self-destructing. Wall Street has seen millions who once struck gold, who rose fast and loud, only to collapse because of a single breach of discipline. The market is unforgiving. It only rewards those who hold the line, every time, no matter how small the temptation. That is why only the disciplined survive decades, while the undisciplined burn out. Discipline turns you into something rare. Knowledge is common, luck is everywhere, but iron discipline is scarce. Scarcity creates power. To become a Wall Street wolf, you do not need genius-level IQ. You do not need state-of-the-art algorithms. You do not need divine luck. You need one thing: iron discipline. Because in this game, the deadliest weapon is not claws or fangs. It is control over yourself. On Wall Street, the herd dies because they cannot control themselves. The wolf thrives because he can. And that, more than any strategy, any secret, any system, is what makes iron discipline the ultimate weapon. Building strength through time. In the world of finance, where every second tempts you with the promise of quick profits, survival does not belong to the predators who rush in with reckless aggression on day one. The ones who truly endure, the ones who grow into gray wolves of Wall Street, understand that real strength never comes overnight. It is built through accumulation, through small but deliberate steps, through accepting that time itself is the greatest ally if you know how to harness it. A young trader often charges into the market like an impatient hunter. He bets big immediately, convinced that one strike will change his life. But the market is more like a dense forest where prey is never so easily caught. The inexperienced predator burns out after a few failed ambushes, while the gray wolf gathers strength slowly, observing, taking small trials, and only unleashing its full power when the moment is ripe. The strength of a wolf does not lie in its first bite, but in the endurance of the pack, in its ability to survive long winters of scarcity. Similarly, a seasoned trader knows that markets have brutal winters, long sideways stretches, punishing bear cycles, or confusing volatility that breaks the patience of the masses. During these stretches, the impatient blow up their accounts while the wolf quietly accumulates, building positions, building capital, sharpening skills, so that when spring returns, the kill is inevitable. Look at how Warren Buffett built his empire. He did not become rich from one lucky bet, but from decades of patient accumulation. He let compounding do the heavy lifting. He let time transform small returns into a fortune. In markets, compounding is not just a mathematical tool. It is a philosophy of survival. You plant the seed today, you nurture it year after year, and decades later you sit under the massive shade of a tree that the impatient never stayed long enough to see grow. In nature, a young wolf may be fast, fierce, and eager, but it lacks the calm patience of an old wolf. A wolf pack hunting a moose does not charge recklessly at first sight. They encircle, they test, they wear it down over time. That patience is exactly how markets work. Major trends rarely appear in a single day. They build through long consolidation zones, through accumulation of volume, through subtle shifts in structure. The patient trader spots the signs while the restless herd is already shaken out. In the trading room, strength is not just capital. It is also psychology, experience, and resilience. A trader who has survived multiple market cycles is like a wolf who has lived through many winters. He does not panic at sudden drops, nor does he get intoxicated by sharp rallies. He knows each cycle is only part of a much larger pattern, and only those who endure long enough can truly master it. Consider the trader who steadily accumulated tech stocks in the early 2010s when the market still doubted their future. He did not need to predict every swing. He simply built positions patiently, buying when prices were reasonable, waiting through the noise. A decade later, that patience turned into immense wealth. Meanwhile, millions who chased headlines every day bought tops, sold bottoms, and accumulated nothing but regret. Accumulated strength also comes from knowing when to withdraw. An old wolf does not waste energy on a hopeless hunt. If the prey is too strong or the terrain too unfavorable, it walks away. A trader must do the same. Not every market offers opportunity. Sometimes the smartest move is to stay out, preserve financial and emotional strength, and wait for the golden moment. Patience itself becomes a weapon. Time sharpens every edge. A young trader may be skilled in analysis, but he lacks scars. Every loss, every betrayal of expectations by the market forges steel in his character. Each year of experience is another season of sharpening fangs. By the time he matures, he no longer fights from fear or greed, but from discipline, logic, and the strength accumulated over years. In the wild, lone wolves often face exile. They start by surviving on rabbits, taking small prey before building the strength to bring down elk. This is the story of countless independent traders. You begin small, with modest capital. You survive trade by trade. You grow stronger. You cannot expect to dominate markets in a single season. But if you are patient, if you allow time to forge you, one day you will have the strength to take down larger prey, the opportunities that change your life. Accumulating strength over time is the market's most ruthless yet fair law. The greedy and hasty are always consumed. The patient and disciplined, the ones who endure, are rewarded. A gray wolf is not born strong. He becomes strong because he has survived long enough to accumulate experience, endurance, and wisdom. A trader is no different. And in the end, remember this: the market does not care about you. It does not care that you want to get rich quickly or that you need to prove yourself. The market only rewards those who understand that true power is not seized in an instant, but forged through years of accumulation. Becoming a gray wolf is not a destination. It is a long process where every scar, every loss, every small victory contributes to a strength that cannot be shaken: the instinct to smell opportunity. Every predator in nature relies on instinct. For the wolf, survival depends on an almost supernatural ability to sense weakness in its prey, to detect shifts in the wind, to read subtle patterns in the forest. On Wall Street, the instinct to smell opportunity separates those who merely exist in the market from those who dominate it. The gray wolf of finance does not blindly chase every headline, every price spike, every rumor whispered across trading floors. He sniffs the air of the market, detects the hidden scent of blood, and knows precisely when to strike. The average trader confuses noise with opportunity. They see a stock trending on social media and assume it is a signal. They read a sensational headline and jump in before they even understand what it means. They are like deer startled by every sound in the forest, running in every direction until exhaustion leads them straight into the predator's jaws. The wolf, however, does not waste energy on false signals. He filters the noise, studies the wind, and hunts only when the odds favor him. Opportunity in the market is never obvious. By the time it becomes clear to the crowd, it is already gone. The wolf's edge lies in perceiving it before the herd does. This instinct is not magic. It is the result of years of exposure, of training the senses, of turning countless hours of observation into subconscious recognition. Just as a wolf can smell prey long before it sees it, the seasoned trader can sense market shifts before they appear on the charts. Consider how a wolf pack hunts a herd of caribou. The prey may look strong as a whole, but the wolves are not distracted by the sheer numbers. They focus on subtle details: the injured leg of one, the hesitation of another, the scent of weakness carried by the wind. To the untrained eye, the herd looks impenetrable. To the wolves, opportunity shines like a beacon. In markets, the herd often looks invincible too. A booming bull run convinces amateurs that prices can only go higher. But the gray wolf notices the weakening breath beneath the euphoria. Momentum fading, volume diverging, insiders quietly unloading. He smells the turning point while the crowd still dances. The instinct to smell opportunity comes from discipline as much as intuition. A trader who has lived through countless rallies and crashes internalizes patterns that others miss. He does not need to rationalize every move. His subconscious tells him when something is off, when the market's rhythm has changed. This instinct is not random, it is earned. It comes from the scars of past mistakes, from the pain of losses that burned lessons into memory. Every wrong step taken, every misjudgment sharpens the senses for the future. Take the example of the financial crisis of 2008. Most participants were drunk on euphoria during the housing boom. They smelled nothing but profit. But a few wolves, those who had trained themselves to notice distortions, caught the scent of decay. They noticed lenders giving mortgages to anyone with a pulse. They saw banks packaging garbage into gold, and they smelled blood long before the collapse. When the herd was still grazing comfortably, those wolves positioned themselves. And when the collapse came, they feasted while the herd was slaughtered. This instinct is not limited to spotting collapses. It also applies to recognizing hidden growth before it explodes. Think of the early days of Amazon or Tesla. The herd dismissed them as overhyped dreams. The gray wolves smelled something different, the scent of inevitability buried beneath temporary chaos. They accumulated quietly, wading through years of doubt until the herd finally caught on far too late. By then, the wolves had already fed. But let us not romanticize instinct as pure genius. The predator's nose must be calibrated. Wolves test the air constantly. If the scent fades, they do not chase blindly. Traders must do the same. An opportunity must align with structure, volume, risk control. Instinct tells you where to look, but discipline confirms the hunt. Acting on gut alone is suicide. Acting on instinct sharpened by experience and verified by risk analysis, that is survival. Imagine a lone wolf on the hunt. He pauses, nose lifted, catching a faint trace of prey. He does not sprint immediately. He studies the wind, circles down current, positions himself. Only when the scent grows stronger does he commit. The market works the same way. A veteran trader may sense an opportunity, a sector heating up, liquidity shifting, sentiment cracking, but he does not rush. He tests with small positions, gauges reactions, confirms with data. Only when the trail proves real does he strike with size. This instinct separates the predator from the prey. The herd waits for certainty, for confirmation blasted on CNBC for analysts to scream buy. By then, the wolf has already finished the meal. The true opportunity lies in discomfort, in ambiguity, in the faint scent of something the herd has not yet noticed. To follow the herd is to always be late. To smell the opportunity early is to control the game. The instinct to smell opportunity also requires emotional detachment. Fear and greed are the strongest scents in markets. They cloud judgment. The wolf must rise above them. He cannot be seduced by the same illusions that intoxicate the herd. He does not chase because others chase. He does not panic because others panic. He trusts his senses, honed through years of survival. He trusts the invisible signals he has earned the right to recognize. Developing this instinct takes time, patience, and immersion. A trader cannot gain it by reading a single book or following a guru on social media. It must be lived. It must be forged in fire. Hours of watching price action, nights spent studying cycles, years of witnessing both triumphs and disasters. This is the grind that sharpens the nose. Just as a wolf pup learns by shadowing the pack, a trader learns by shadowing markets, by hunting small before daring the big game. At its core, the instinct to smell opportunity is the art of being early without being reckless. It is about sensing what others cannot see yet, positioning yourself when the risk is lowest and the reward is highest, and doing so quietly without alerting the herd. The wolf never announces his hunt. He stalks silently, unseen until the moment he strikes. On Wall Street, opportunity rarely announces itself. It hides in plain sight, disguised as fear, chaos, or boredom. The herd misses it because they are distracted by noise. But the gray wolf notices the subtle scent on the wind, the divergence in sentiment, the quiet shift in liquidity, the change in tone that others dismiss. He smells the blood long before it spills. This is the predator's edge. Not speed, not brute force, but the ability to smell opportunity before the herd even realizes danger or profit exists. This instinct, sharpened over years, becomes second nature. It guides decisions in the chaos. It separates survivors from victims, and it ensures that when the herd finally reacts, the wolf is already eating. The kill strike. In the life of every predator, there comes a moment when hesitation means death. The hunt is long, The tracking is exhausting, the patience is relentless. But when the prey finally falters, when weakness is revealed, everything comes down to one strike. For the wolf, that strike is a calculated explosion of violence. For the trader, it is the decisive execution of a trade that has been prepared for weeks, months, sometimes years. The kill strike is where all discipline, all scars, all instincts converge into one moment of action. Most of the herd misunderstands this. They believe success lies in constant action, in chasing every flicker of movement, in always having a position. They waste their energy darting after shadows. The wolf knows better. The wolf conserves strength, stalks quietly, and waits. The kill strike is not about being constantly active. It is about being ruthlessly selective, waiting until the prey is vulnerable, and then attacking with absolute commitment. In nature, a wolf pack may chase a moose for miles. They do not bite recklessly at every turn. They test, they tire it out, they look for cracks in its defense. Then, in an instant, they strike the throat. The kill is sudden, violent, final. On Wall Street, the same principle applies. The gray wolf does not buy and sell on whim. He stalks an asset, watching its structure, smelling its weakness, observing volume and sentiment. When the opportunity aligns, the technicals, the psychology, the timing, he strikes with size. One clean move can feed him for months. Consider the trader who shorted the housing market in 2008. For years, he endured ridicule. The herd called him insane, blind, reckless. But he was stalking. He smelled the blood of subprime decay. He tested, positioned, waited, and when the cracks turned into collapse, he struck with everything. The kill was brutal. While the herd was slaughtered, his strike produced fortunes beyond imagination. That was the essence of the kill strike. Patience rewarded by decisive execution. The kill strike is not about perfection. It is about recognition. No trader ever sees the future with certainty. But the wolf does not need certainty. He needs odds. He waits until the prey stumbles, until the odds shift decisively in his favor. Then he commits. Traders who hesitate at that moment lose everything. Opportunity does not wait. The throat is exposed only for a second. Strike late and the prey escapes. Strike without preparation and you risk being gored. Strike at the right moment and the market yields. Execution is everything. The kill strike is worthless without precision. A wolf that misjudges distance, timing, or force will be trampled. A trader who executes sloppily, entering late, oversizing without control, letting emotion guide the trade, turns opportunity into disaster. This is why every prior lesson matters. The scars of past hunts teach discipline. The accumulation of strength provides the capital. The instinct to smell opportunity points the way. But all of it is meaningless if, in the moment of truth, execution falters. Think of Jesse Livermore, one of the legendary wolves of Wall Street. His fortune was not built on thousands of small random trades. It was built on massive strikes at pivotal moments, shorting during the panic of 1907, selling into the crash of 1929. He stalked markets for months, waiting for signals, enduring boredom, ignoring noise. And when the prey stumbled, he struck with unmatched ferocity. His kill strikes became legend. The kill strike also requires emotional detachment. The wolf does not pity its prey. It does not hesitate because of sympathy. It strikes because survival depends on it. Traders must learn the same cold detachment. The herd will cry that the market cannot fall further, that valuations make no sense, that this time is different. The wolf ignores their cries. He strikes when the time is right, regardless of sentiment. He does not ask permission. He does not second guess. He executes. But there is a darker truth. The kill strike can also destroy the hunter if abused. A wolf that attacks recklessly without proper stalking risks injury that may end its life. A trader who treats every setup as a kill strike, who overcommits constantly, will eventually bleed out. The kill strike is rare. It is not every week, not every month. It may be only a few times a year, maybe once a decade. But those rare moments feed the wolf far longer than a dozen scraps. Discipline means waiting, not forcing. Imagine a lone wolf facing a herd of elk. If he lunges blindly, he dies. But if he circles, tests, isolates the weak, and strikes at the throat, he wins. Translate that to markets. A trader who sees a stock breaking down after weeks of distribution, insiders unloading, sentiment euphoric, but momentum dying. That is the throat exposed. The gray wolf does not hesitate. He takes the short, sizes up, and executes. The herd is slaughtered, and he feeds. This mindset transforms trading. The kill strike shifts the focus from noise to patience, from constant activity to selective ferocity. It teaches that wealth is not built from endless flurries of trades, but from a few decisive moves executed with precision. The wolf knows he cannot afford to waste energy. His survival depends on waiting for that single moment when the prey is weakest. The trader must do the same. In the end, the kill strike is not just about money. It is about mastery. It is the culmination of everything the wolf has learned: the patience to stalk, the discipline to wait, the instinct to smell opportunity, the strength to commit. All of it converges into one moment of pure clarity. The strike is swift, merciless, and final. On Wall Street, few ever learn this art. Most die in the chase, exhausted by noise, seduced by false signals. But the gray wolf survives because he knows when to hold back and when to unleash hell. He knows that everything leads to the kill strike. And when that moment comes, he does not hesitate. He strikes with precision, takes his prize, and disappears into the shadows, leaving only carnage behind. This is the essence of the predator on Wall Street. Not endless motion, not constant chasing, but the art of one perfect strike. The herd will never understand it, but the wolf lives by it. And it is the kill strike that ensures his place at the top of the food chain. The legacy of the gray wolf. Every hunt eventually ends. The prey is taken, the blood dries, and the forest falls silent once again. Yet what remains is not only the kill itself, but the imprint it leaves. The trail, the lessons, the mark of a predator who has walked through fire and survived. In trading, just as in the wild, the wolf's true power is not only measured by his individual victories, but by the legacy he leaves behind. The gray wolf is not merely a killer. He is a teacher, a reminder, a myth carried forward by the pack and feared by the herd. Most traders think legacy is about wealth. They believe that leaving millions in an account or being written about in financial journals is the ultimate mark. But money is just meat. It feeds you for a while. Then it disappears. Legacy is not built on meat. Legacy is built on scars, on principles, on the code of survival passed to the next generation of hunters. The gray wolf's true inheritance is not his fortune, but his discipline, his patience, his ruthless clarity. On Wall Street, names rise and fall with the market cycles. Some are remembered for spectacular gains, others for catastrophic failures, but only a few carve a legacy that endures beyond numbers. Jesse Livermore left behind not just wealth, but a philosophy: the danger of over-leveraging, the necessity of patience, the art of waiting for the line of least resistance. Paul Tudor Jones will be remembered not only for his trades, but for his obsession with risk management, the shield that kept him alive when others perished. These wolves etched their lessons into the very bones of the street. The legacy of the gray wolf is forged in silence as much as in thunder. It is not about screaming victories on social media or flaunting wealth. The wolf does not need applause. He leaves his mark through survival, through consistency, through wisdom that whispers long after he is gone. Every scar is a story. Every trade journal a scripture. Every rule a line of code engraved into the DNA of those who follow. A true predator understands that survival cannot be hoarded. A wolf that hunts alone leaves nothing for the pack. But a wolf that teaches, that shares, that leaves behind a path, he ensures that the hunt continues long after his own breath fades. In trading, this means documenting your process, building journals, refining systems, passing down principles. The gray wolf knows that one man's lifetime is short, but his code can outlive him. Consider the great market crashes. Each generation produces its herd that forgets history and charges blindly towards slaughter. But it also produces its wolves, those who remember, who recognize the patterns, who teach the next generation to wait, stalk, and strike. The legacy is not about avoiding death entirely, but about preparing others to recognize its signs. The herd always forgets. The wolf never does. There is also a deeper truth. The wolf's legacy is personal. It is not only what he leaves for others, but what he leaves within himself. Every trader who endures long enough reaches a point where the game becomes less about money and more about mastery. The kill strikes matter, but beyond them lies something more profound: the quiet satisfaction of knowing you played the game at the highest level, that you walked into the arena where millions fell and you survived. That is the wolf's inner legacy, self-respect carved into his bones. The herd chases quick glory. They want to be remembered for sudden riches, for flashy headlines. But the wolf understands that legacy is built in silence, in the nights of waiting, in the mornings of discipline, in the decades of scars. Nobody remembers the sheep that won the lottery, but the forest remembers the wolf who kept hunting through winter after winter, who never broke his code, who fed the pack when others starved. In practical terms, legacy in trading is about building something that endures beyond you. It may be a fund that outlives its founder. It may be a book that teaches future traders how to survive. It may be a journal that your children read to understand discipline. The form does not matter. What matters is that the lessons are real, tested in blood, written in scars, not copied from shallow noise. Take Warren Buffett, for example. His legacy is not just Berkshire Hathaway's billions. His true legacy is the discipline of value, the mindset of patience, the refusal to gamble on what he does not understand. Generations of traders who never met him will still follow his code, even if they do not know his name. That is the wolf's way. He does not care who receives credit, only that the hunt continues. The wolf also knows that legacy requires humility. Arrogance destroys it. Livermore, for all his brilliance, also left a warning that unchecked ego leads to ruin. His fortune was built by discipline but destroyed by hubris. His legacy is twofold: brilliance and tragedy, victory and defeat. The wise wolf learns from both sides. He does not worship only the triumphs, but also studies the failures. Legacy is not perfection. Legacy is the totality of a life hunted to the edge, scars and all. When the gray wolf finally rests, he leaves behind trails in the snow. Those trails tell a story. They show where he stalked, where he bled, where he struck, where he triumphed. Traders too leave trails, charts marked with entries and exits, journals filled with victories and mistakes, accounts that rose and fell. The herd sees only numbers, but the wolf knows the trails themselves are the legacy. They are the truth that cannot be erased. What does this mean for the trader who walks today? It means that every decision is not only about survival now, but about what will remain when the hunt is over. Will you leave behind nothing but blown accounts and excuses? Or will you carve a path that others can follow? Will your scars remain private wounds, or will you turn them into maps for the next generation? That is the question of legacy. And here lies the paradox. The wolf does not hunt for legacy. He hunts for survival. Legacy is the byproduct of living true to the code. A trader who focuses on fame or remembrance loses sight of the hunt and becomes vulnerable. But a trader who focuses on discipline, patience, execution, he leaves a legacy without trying. Just as the wolf leaves trails not to be remembered, but because he lived. The forest forgets the herd quickly. The herd dies in silence, trampled and consumed. But the forest never forgets the wolf. His presence echoes long after he is gone. On Wall Street, the same law holds. The market erases most names, but it remembers the wolves. It remembers the killers who waited, who struck, who left behind principles carved in blood. In the end, the legacy of the gray wolf is not about wealth, not about fame, not even about survival. It is about honor. The honor of having walked into the deadliest arena on earth and not only lived, but lived by a code. The honor of leaving behind truths that outlast flesh. The honor of being a wolf in a world of sheep. That is the true inheritance. That is the story the forest will tell. That is the legacy of the gray wolf. The last howl of the wolf. The journey of becoming a gray wolf on Wall Street is not about chasing quick fortune. It is not about following the herd, nor about playing safe in the shadows. It is a brutal transformation through scars, through blood, through winters of silence and patience. You begin as prey, naive and eager, and you end as predator, sharp and disciplined. From hiding your claws, to enduring loss, to building iron discipline and accumulating strength over time, the path of the wolf is carved in struggle. You learn to smell opportunity before others see it, to strike with precision when the herd is blind, and to leave behind a legacy that endures beyond numbers. This is the code of survival, the truth written in scars. And now the forest is quiet. The herd continues its endless stampede, blind and noisy. But in the shadows, the wolf stands tall, patient, silent, unbroken. For the wolf does not seek applause. He seeks mastery, and mastery is eternal. The question is no longer whether you can survive. The question is whether you will walk the path of the herd or the path of the wolf. If you are ready to sharpen your mind, to embrace discipline, to master the predator's mindset and rise above the noise of the crowd, then step into the den. Subscribe to Trading Mindset Lab. This is where wolves are made.